What's up, everyone? So you've come here to get that age-old question answered. Is it SRAM, is it Shimano, or is it something else? Well, the answer to that is, you're just gonna have to wait and find out and finish watching this video. Mark here from America's Bike Shop, Jenson, USA. And I want to just start this video and say, if you like what we're doing and you want to help us out, it takes a simple like and subscribe to our channel because this helps us produce videos and keeps the ball rolling. So in this video, we're going to start tackling the question, and it's drivetrains. We're looking at, is it Shimano, is it SRAM, is it something else? And this is a question we're facing when we're out there looking at bikes, what bike we're going to purchase. Maybe we're looking to upgrade. This is a pretty detailed question here to ask. So in this video, we're gonna break down everything from a comparison chart, looking at the lineups of both SRAM and Shimano. We're gonna go over interesting features. We're gonna talk about the feel, the pros, the cons, what's up with electronic drivetrains, and everything else. So buckle up, white knuckle those bars, and get ready for the ride. And as always, don't forget to wear a helmet because it's gonna get bumpy. All right, so to start things off, I wanted to go over the Groupset comparisons. This is looking down the lineup from both our two major competitors, which is SRAM and Shimano, and looking at how they structure the lineup of their drivetrains, starting from entry level, moving all the way into pro. So let's begin. For entry level, we have, starting on the Shimano side, we have Dior. This is a great entry level into their drivetrain. You're gonna get a lot of great feelings and parts here. For SRAM, you're looking at either SX or NX. These are both very great drivetrains as well. And these are you're gonna see these on your entry-level bikes. They're perfect for getting you out there riding the bike. There's nothing wrong with these, right? These are great entry-level. Moving into mid-level, we have on Shimano side, we have SLX. We're gonna start seeing here when we get into the mid-level, a lot of the good features coming in with shedding weight and a little bit more precision engineering. For SRAM, we have the GX build. Now GX, again, similar to Shimano. These are your mid-levels. You're gonna find these on those bikes that where you're starting to get a little more competitive, the weight's dropping a little bit better on shifting and things like that. Now moving into high end, we have the Dior XT from Shimano. Again, we're starting to see a little bit of shedding weight. We're gonna start getting more mechanical precision here. For SRAM, we have the XO1 drivetrain. Moving into racing, we have the XTR from Shimano, and we have XX1 from SRAM. Now, as we move in here to racing in the pro level, we're getting that same mechanical precision that we're seeing previously in the high end, but now we're moving really into a focus on shedding weight and creating a much more lighter weight drivetrain to shed any kind of pounds you can on the bike to get as fast as you need to be. And lastly, moving into pro level, we have Shimano's XTR, which is the Di2, and this is their electronic group set, which only is available in their higher end, pro status. And when we have SRAM here, we have the XO1 Eagle axis, we have the XX1 Eagle axis, and as another little disclaimer, axis is available throughout most of SRAM's drivetrain features, which is a cool thing to keep in mind if you're looking at going the electronic route. All right, so let's move into some of the interesting features between both SRAM and Shimano, and I'm gonna start here with some of the interesting features of SRAM. Like we previously just went over in the group set comparisons, with SRAM, a really neat feature is that it has axis compatibility moving from GX all the way up into their upper end group sets. This is a really cool feature for if you're looking to go to that electronic route. Another great thing about SRAM is they have the ability of the cage lock. Now what this does is on your derailleur, say you're looking to remove that derailleur and you're looking to open it up, they have this great little button that doesn't have any user error. It locks it out and makes it easily to work on your bike or travel with your bike. A couple other interesting features here is SRAM's matchmaker system. Now what this does, it allows you to hook your dropper post lever, the brake levers and everything to a compatible system within the drivetrain trigger shifter. And this keeps it simplistic. SRAM has used this same system from the beginning and still continues to use it, and that's Matchmaker. The next really cool feature here, which not necessarily a cool feature, but it's a feature you should understand when you're trying to decide which drivetrain you're picking, and that is, with SRAM, it's the XD driver. Now this basically, in all its simplest forms, is what your rear hub is telling you, right? If it's telling you XD driver, when you spin that wheel and it whispers in your ear, brrr, XD driver, make sure you use XD. All right, so moving into the next feature, and this is a great feature, probably what sets SRAM apart in this aspect, and that is the X-Dome right here. With the X-Dome, we're talking about a precision masterpiece of machining ability. They've created the entire cassette out of one piece of metal. So there is no pins holding different, chain rings together. It's all one piece. This sheds a ton of weight. It creates the longevity of a Toyota Tacoma. It's gonna keep you out there riding. And one thing to note though is that this only is available in their upper end drivetrain features. So if you're looking for this aspect, be prepared to drop a few bucks on it. All right, the last feature here with SRAM is the 1052 cassette. Shimano has 1051, which we'll get into when we start getting into the interesting features of Shimano, but just know that there's a one-tooth difference. This is basically SRAM and Shimano's war on teeth, similar to your dentist and soda, right? Make sure you brush your teeth, make sure you floss, and make sure you use mouthwash daily. With these two companies, it's a one-tooth difference. They're just trying to, have a contest here. But if you can tell us the difference between one tooth on your cassette, I would love to hear about it. So leave a comment below and tell us the big difference. So let's get into some of Shimano's interesting features, and the first being the clutch switch. Now, similar to SRAM, which has a one-touch button, Shimano here has a lever for on and off. And although this is a great feature which allows you to work on your derailleur and work on your bike, there is the possibility of user error. Now, what I mean by this is when the switch is flipped, it can look like it's on, but in reality it's off, and it can create some difficulties out on the trail, so just be aware of that. But in reality, the overall point being is that Shimano is also recognized here that the ability to work on your bike and have that ability to take off that derailleur is a great option. All right, so the next cool feature about Shimano is the trigger shifter. Now what they've done, which is completely different from SRAM, is they give you the ability to use your index finger for pushing and for basically pulling on going up or down your gears. This is really neat if that's what you're into. I personally like to hover over my brakes at all times, so I stick to the typical thumb and index finger individually, whether I'm going up or down. But if you like just using one finger, awesome. It's available. It's a great feature from Shimano. Also a cool feature here is the double click to go up into your harder gears. It makes it simpler for quick shifting and that kind of thing. But just be aware that this is only available in the XT and XTR group sets. Now, similarly to SRAM, Shimano has their iSpect ability. Now, this currently is in the iSpect EV, but they have also had 4 iterations of this compatibility. This is iSpect 1, iSpect 2, 3, 4, no, it's iSpect 2, A, and B. Now, with these iterations, this is similar to the Matchmaker in that it allows you to hook your dropper post, your brake levers, and everything to a very simplistic system. But please be aware that with this and the 4 iterations that Shimano has had, just pay attention to cross compatibility and make sure that if you're mix and matching parts, that they are compatible with each other. All right, so moving into what I believe sets Shimano apart from SRAM on interesting features, and that's the Hyperglide Plus. This is the teeth shape that they've machined here. It's very unique and it creates the fastest shifting possible. This sets them apart completely. They have engineered the actual shape of the top of the teeth to keep that chain moving from gear to gear at such a precision and fast way that it's awesome. So if you're looking for really quick shifting and you're looking for what sets them apart and that's what you need, that's your sell point, then I recommend going with Shimano and getting something with Hyperglide Plus. And like I previously reference with SRAM. With Shimano, again, what they offer is a 1051 on their cassette, so it's a 1-tooth difference. I don't think there's really anything to notice between a 1-tooth, between one or the other, so not so much of a sell point here, but just something to be aware of. All right, so let's get into how they feel. When you're looking at Shimano, you're looking at SRAM, you're gonna know how it feels. If only we could just jump out there and feel every type of, drivetrain and Groupset and just get exactly what it feels like, especially in a video. Maybe someday we'll have videos with smells and everything else. But for now, you gotta deal with me kind of describing it to you. With Shimano, you're gonna get that very precision, fast shifting ability. It's very smooth. The way they've had the instantaneous shifting, the hyperglide, and the way they've designed their chains, if you're looking for a very smooth, instantaneous, it's precision. I don't know any other way to basically describe it to you. If you like that feeling, it's like for photographers out there, if you like clicking the button on a Leica and you feel that precision, that's basically what Shimano's giving you in that feel. The feeling with SRAM here is you're getting a more mechanical feeling, a more visceral approach. So if you're into analog, you're into mechanical, you still pop the vinyl on the record player and you get down to that, which I myself find myself doing, then SRAM's the way to go. Every time you hit that trigger shifter, you're gonna know you're shifting gears. And although it's a lot slower, a little bit slower, maybe not that much slower, but it is a little bit slower than Shimano, it's still a great drivetrain to be considering. Now, also to consider here, if you add access to here, what it's gonna do is add a little bit more precision and a little bit more speed. So with their electronic system involved, they've been able to work with that idea and help give you a little bit more precision shifting on the Groupset. All right, so if price and weight are very big points for you when you're trying to make your decision, let's keep this in mind. Generally, SRAM's gonna be a lighter drivetrain, more mechanical, and more expensive. With Shimano, it's gonna be a little bit cheaper in their mechanical aspects, but it's gonna be heavier. So keep those in mind. SRAM, lighter, more expensive for mechanical. Shimano, heavier, cheaper. Now, we can get into the electronic aspects of each of these group sets and start breaking them down versus, what's the cost difference. SRAM's ability, like I've said 1,000 times in this video already, has it throughout more of their group sets. Shimano only has it in the upper level. But what I'll do is I'll save that for the next section, which is electronic shifting, the future of drivetrains, and the pros and cons about that. So we'll get right into that next. All right, so in this section, we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of basically picking an electric drive set or drivetrain, group set, drivetrain set versus a mechanical one. Now, I wanna put this disclaimer out there. A lot of what I'm about to say is gonna primarily focus on SRAM, and that is again, because there's so much availability here and the electric availability. Now, with that being said, I want to make sure to say that I don't think this is going to stay this way for long. As the future, I really believe we'll start seeing a lot more focus here. And when that time comes, with electric being the focus, we'll be sure to make another video based on that. So let's get into the pros. So one of the first pros here about having an electronic drivetrain system is the ability to set it up. With mechanical, there's a lot more adjustment coming here, where with electronic, it simplifies that. And what I mean by this is they have app-based instructions on how to install and set it up, as well as software that basically tunes your drivetrain to exactly how you need it to be, all electronically. So this is great features here when you're considering if electronic is the right way for the drivetrain. As well as this, is the ability with electronic and not having wires per se, you're not going to have cable routing, which with cable routing, you need a special tool. So with electronic drivetrain systems, you don't need that special tool anymore. With Shimano and their Di2 system, there are wires, but these wires are primarily just to communicate from a centralized battery to the derailleur. And so no cables, a little bit of wire communication, but still much more simpler than a full cable routing. As well as if you like traveling and you travel with your bike often, the benefit to an electronic system is you can just pull your derailleur right off your bike, throw it in your back pocket, throw your bike in the bike bag, and be on down the road. But really, don't put your derailleur in your back pocket. Make sure you store it and keep it nice and safe. With SRAM, they have a great feature here, and that is, let's see if I can word this properly, a knockout feature. And what I mean by this is, you know, if you're maybe smashing on a rock or something, it has the ability to protect the derailleur with this specific idea. All right, now for the cons of an electric drive system, and I promise you I'm not biased, I do run a mechanical drivetrain on my bike. I like electronic, and maybe one day I'll get it. But breaking into the cons of the electric drivetrain system, number one is you're kind of losing that mechanical, visceral feel of when you're shifting your bike. And again, this goes back to when we're talking about, you know, what you're looking for when you're shifting and you're feeling between both drivetrain systems here. Electric kind of lets you or allows you to feel less connected with your bike. And maybe this is a personal experience here, but I like feeling that, knowing I'm shifting from chainring to chainring, where electric, you're just kind of clicking a button, so maybe you feel a little bit of detached. Maybe you do like electronic and technology and you want that precision, you want that faster shift point, then I would recommend going with the electronic system. So for cons, it's pretty simple. It's basically, it takes away that kind of visceral aspect of shifting in your drivetrains. So can it be a con? Yes. Can it be a pro? Yes. I'll leave that up to you to decide. And also just, you know, a con here is that all electronic drive systems are going to be significantly more expensive than your mechanical. And I almost forgot, because forgetting has to do with this last point on the cons here, and that is you might forget your batteries. When you're working with electronic systems, you might forget to charge your batteries, you might forget to bring your batteries because you left it on the charger. So if you're similarly like I am right now, that you're experiencing with forgetting certain points or forgetting batteries or forgetting to charge things, then this can be a con for you. So with electronic drive systems, you have to make sure you keep your batteries charged, you have the batteries with you. So yeah. All right, so now let's get into the aspects of the not so good for Shimano and SRAM, because we always want to know what's not good about them, because I want to know the honest truth here. And I'm going to break down some points. And just to be honest from the start, there's not a lot here, because they're both huge powerhouses here in drivetrains, and they make a great product on both sides. But for Shimano, to start with, it's generally going to be heavier than SRAM. A lot of their drivetrains here are going to have a little bit more weight than SRAM. So if weight is an issue, that's the not so good about Shimano. If you're thinking about going the electronic aspect, then just keep in mind with Shimano, the not so good here is they don't have affordable electronic drivetrain systems. Their electronic system is only in the upper end pro aspect of it. Another aspect here is that their rear derailleurs seem to be a little bit less robust. And so if you're pretty gnarly and you find yourself really smashing into things, this might be the not so good here for Shimano, as they lack a lot of robustness in their rear derailleurs. Now with SRAM and the not so good, the first point being is that SRAM drivetrains are typically more expensive. There's a lot of weight here, and maybe this has to do with the more robust derailleurs that they offer, and things like that. As well as with SRAM, let's consider that, like I've stated before, it's not going to shift as fast. So if you're looking for a very quick shifting group set and a drivetrain system, then SRAM's not going to be that offering for you. And although they have the access, moving in through a lot of their drivetrains, it takes a little bit of that away, but it's still not meeting the same standard in which Shimano sets with their speed of shifting. So as you can see with, the not so good on both, they kind of balance each other out. It's more of like your opinion on what you feel you need for your riding. There's not a lot of aspects here for the not so good, because I think that they're all great, they're all good, we all agree here. But I hope that helps into what's not so good. All right, so we've been going through the video and maybe you're thinking, well, there's SRAM, there's Shimano, what else is out there? There's two great options out there I'm gonna bring up just briefly here, and that is Box and Microshift. Now, both of these companies are really starting to make a statement and a stand in the drivetrain market here for mountain bikes especially. But to consider here is that these are offerings of only 9 and 10 speed. And although they have the same range in which Shimano and SRAM do through their chain rings, you're gonna get less speeds here. So you're gonna get bigger jumps every time you shift gears. And if that's not a problem, awesome. These come in at a much more affordable rate here. So they're a really good mechanical aspect at affordable rate. And maybe they're competing with the big players here. So if you're a player and you just, crush a lot, then I can't.
You should have kept that in.
I was, you laughed. So as the joke I just stated, if you're looking for that aspect, then these are great options to consider. They're really making stands, right? A cool thing there is they only have 1 or 2 options there to pick from. So you're not getting inundated with so many different features to sit there and weigh your pros, your cons, the not so goods, the great, the electric, the mechanical, the visceral. Every keyword I've put out to you in this video, they keep it pretty simple. 8, 9 speeds, it's there for you. So if that's something you're looking for and maybe you don't want to step into SRAM or you don't want to step into Shimano, you can consider Box or Microshift as well. I'm not a player, I just crushed a lot. Dude, don't laugh next time.
That was good.
All right, and we've reached the point in which you've been waiting for with all the blabbing and information I've been throwing at you like a pitcher. Which drivetrain should you buy? Well, maybe you're not gonna like my answers, but I'm gonna give them to you. If you're looking for affordable and mechanical group set, then I recommend Shimano. If you're looking for electronic shifting, you don't mind spending a little bit of money there, then I recommend SRAM. And if you're looking for the most affordable, you don't care about having a ton of chain rings, and you just want simple reliability, then I recommend going either Box or Microshift. So those are what we have. Basically, all of these options are great. It just depends on what you're looking for. And I just want to say again that you can't go wrong. They know what they're doing. You know what you want. Figure it out. Comment below. Tell us what drivetrain you're running or you're looking to get, because there is no wrong answers. And if only we were all like that in life. There's never a wrong answer. But here's the one opportunity you have to not have a wrong answer. Let us know which drivetrain you're considering, because you can't go wrong here. So if you liked everything in this video, make sure to also follow us on our social channels at Jenson USA. Leave us some comments, leave us some likes, share some of your riding footage. We love to see them. And if you have further questions, because maybe I'm not touching points that you had direct questions about, we have Gear Advisor pros that are happy to answer all those questions and break down every individual aspect of the drivetrains and everything else that you can think of. And as always, keep pedaling.
No, that was good.
All right, now with feeling unsure, Now similarly, but yeah, I'm gonna redo this take because that was just super choppy and didn't work.
Victoria.